Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Cyber Dragon deck profile. So I'm really excited for you guys because this is one of my favorite decks to play, because it can OTK your opponent with all of your extremely powerful fusion monsters, or it can control the board with all sorts of XZ monsters, which is really amazing and it's super fun to play. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on there so you can become part of Notification Squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like in your name description in a single video, getting a signed card sent in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron, along with test hands. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Cyber Dragon. Cyber Dragon is an awesome card that has the ability that if your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. It's a great 3-of in the deck with cards like Machine Dupe to be able to special summon out more copies of this card, with cards like Core that count themselves as Cyber Dragon while on the field. We then play 3 copies of Cyber Dragon Core. Cyber Dragon Core is the best normal summon in the entire deck, with the ability that when it's normal summoned, you get a cyber spell or trap from your deck to your hand. And if your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, then you can banish this card from your graveyard to special summon a Cyber Dragon monster from your deck, which is an insanely powerful effect to just get a Cyber Dragon on your side of the field. Now, it also has the ability you can only use 1 Cyber Dragon Core effect per turn, and only once that turn. And this card's name becomes Cyber Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard, which is an extremely powerful effect comboed with Machine Dupe, because when you count this card as Cyber Dragon and you activate Machine Dupe, it actually special summons out Cyber Dragons instead of more Cyber Dragon Cores. We then play 3 copies of Cyber Dragon Hertz. Cyber Dragon Hertz is a really good 3-of as well, because this card's name becomes Cyber Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard, and you can only use 1 of the following effects of this card per turn, and only once that turn. That if this card is special summoned, you can make this card's level become 5 until the end phase of its turn, and also you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except for machine monsters. But the effect that you're usually going to use on this card is if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 other Cyber Dragon from your deck or graveyard to your hand, which is a really good effect to be able to grab 1 of your Cyber Dragons back to your hand. We then play 2 copies of Cyber Dragon Nashter. Cyber Dragon Nashter is a really good 2-of in the deck that has the ability, this card's name becomes Cyber Dragon while in the field or in the graveyard, and you can discard 1 other monster to special summon this card from your hand. And if this card is normal or special summoned, then you can target a machine monster with 2100 attack or defense and special summon it. Also, you can't special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except machine monsters, and you only use each effect this card once per turn. This card is a great 2-of because it can get you another monster on your side of the field, so you can link summon for our extremely powerful link monsters. We then play a single copy of Cyber Dark Chimera. Cyber Dark Chimera is a power bond searcher, which is really good for OTKing, with the ability you can discard a spell or trap to add a power bond from your deck to your hand. And you can only use dragon or machine cyber monsters as fusion materials this turn, and also once when you fusion summon this turn, you can also banish monsters from your graveyard as material, which is a great effect because when you activate Power Bond, it pretty much turns it into an overload fusion, so you can banish Cyber Dragons from your graveyard to be able to fusion summon, which is awesome for this deck because it lets you summon out all sorts of extremely powerful fusion monsters. So for the rest of the cards we're playing in the deck, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Galaxy Soldier. Galaxy Soldier is really good to help us go in for our rank 5 plays because it has the ability to send 1 other light monster from your hand to the graveyard and then special summon this card from your hand to defense position. And when this card is special summoned, you get to add another Galaxy monster from your deck to your hand, which is why we're playing 2 copies of this card, because you can search 1 off of the other to give you 2 level 5 monsters, which is really cool. We then play a single copy of the Star Destroying Kaiju. The Star Destroying Kaiju is really good because it's actually searchable off of your Cyber Repair Plant, which is really cool to be able to search this card from deck and get rid of a really powerful boss monster that your opponent might have on the field by attributing it to summon this card, which is really nice. You can also use cards like your Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon to get this card off the field once you summon it to your opponent's field, which is really nice. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is really good in the deck because it basically stops the opponent from touching the deck, so it's a great hand trap in this build. We're also playing 2 copies of DD Crow. DD Crow is a good card in the deck. You can play any hand trap you want in this position as a 2-of, but I really like DD Crow right now in this build because it has the ability to quick effect, discard this card to the graveyard, and then target 1 card in your opponent's graveyard and banish that target, which is really good to go up against the Despia matchup to be able to just get cards out of their graveyard. So that's it for for the monsters, guys, let's get into the spells. DD Crow also comes up, by the way, in the Sword Soul matchup because you can banish the Tinnies. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Harpy's Feather Duster. Harpy's Feather Duster is a really good one-of in the deck because you don't want to have to deal with your opponent's back row while you're going in for an OTK. We then play a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is a great one-of in this deck to make sure that you don't get hand-trapped while you're going in for game. We then play a single copy of Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn is just a great extender in this deck to be able to get a Cyber Dragon back on your side of the field so you can start going in for all sorts of really awesome plays. We then play a single copy of Cyber Rev System, which is pretty much in archetype Monster Reborn with the ability that you can special summon a Cyber Dragon from your hand or graveyard, and it can't be destroyed by card effects, which is a really good effect just to get it on your side of the field. But this card is searchable, which is really awesome. We then play a single copy of Cyber Dark Realm. Cyber Dark Realm is a really good card in the deck because it has the ability, when this card is activated, you can add a Cyber Dark monster from your deck to your hand with a different name from cards in your graveyard. And then during the main phase, you can immediately, as this card resolves, normal summon a Cyber Dark monster, which is the effect that we're going to be using on this card all the time to be able to get Chimera from deck to hand. Well, pretty much the combo is you normal summon Core, search this card, and then activate this, grab Chimera, normal summon the Chimera off this effect, which gives you 2 monsters on the field, and then you can link summon for the Cyber Dragon Link monster after you search Power Bond off Chimera's effect, which gives you 2 monsters in the graveyard, which is really cool. And at that point, all you really need is 1 more Cyber Dragon to go into something like a Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon using Power Bond and the monsters in the grave, which is really cool. We then play a single copy of Cyber Repair Plant. Cyber Repair Plant is a really good searcher in the deck that if a Cyber Dragon is in your graveyard, you can activate one of these effects. And if you have 3 or more Cyber Dragons in the graveyard, you can activate both effects, which is really, really cool. And it also has the ability that you can add a Light Machine monster from your deck to your hand, or you can target a Light Machine monster in your graveyard and shuffle that target into the deck, which is a pretty good effect to be able to get the exact cards you need when you need them. We then play a single copy of Overload Fusion. Overload Fusion is basically the Miracle Fusion of the deck, which is really nice in this deck to be able to fusion summon a Dark Machine Fusion monster from your extract by banishing the fusion materials listed on it from your field or grave, which is really cool because you can summon out all sorts of extremely powerful cards with this card's effect. We then play a single copy of Cyber Load Fusion. Cyber Load Fusion combos very well with Overload Fusion because it has the ability to get back your banished cards with the ability to fusion summon a fusion monster from your extra deck that lists a Cyber Dragon monster as material by shuffling the fusion materials listed on it into the deck from among cards on the field or face up that are banished, but monsters that you control cannot attack for the rest of the turn except that fusion monster, which is not that big of a deal because you can set this card on your side of the field, activate it during the opponent's turn, and set up for an OTK on the following turn, which is really cool. We then play 2 copies of Power Bond. Power Bond is a really awesome card that whatever you fusion summon with it, you're going to double the attack points of that monster, which is really, really cool. The only downside to this card is during the end phase of the turn you activate this, you do take damage equal to the original attack of that monster, which is a little bit of a downside, but it's totally fine because usually when you activate this card and it goes through, you're gonna OTK, which is really nice. We then play 3 copies of Machine Duplication. Machine Duplication is really good for the combo that I talked about with Core, where you can just have Core on your side of the field, or Hertz, or a copy of Nashter on the field, because they all count as Cyber Dragon while on the field, and you can activate this card to summon out 2 more of the original Cyber Dragon off this card's effect, which is really, really nice. We then play 3 copies of Cyber Emergency. Cyber Emergency is a great searcher for the deck. Lets you add a Light Machine monster that cannot be normal summoned or set, or a Cyber Dragon monster from your deck to your hand, which is really, really good because it searches the majority of the deck, which is really nice. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to be playing a couple of traps in this build. We're going to be playing a single copy of Cybernetic Overflow. Cybernetic Overflow is a really good one-of in this deck that has the ability to banish any Cyber Dragon monsters with different levels from your hand, face up from field, or graveyard, and then destroy an equal number of cards your opponent controls. And if this card on the field is destroyed by card effect, then you can add a Cyber Spell or Trap from your deck to your hand. This card has so many pluses on it to be able to pop an entire board, which is really, really cool, because you have multiple levels in your your deck to be able to use with this card, which is really, really nice. And you can get your Cyber Dragons to the graveyard extremely easily in this build. We're then playing 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is a great 3-of as well because it negates monster effects and can also stop spells and traps in the same column as it, which is really, really nice. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon. This card is a great OTK piece for the deck. It has the ability that a fusion summon of this card can only be done with the above fusion materials, which is 2+ Cyber Dragon monsters. And when this card is fusion summoned, you can target spells or traps on the field up to the number of fusion materials you use to fusion summon this card and destroy them. And then once per turn, you can send 2 light machine monsters from your deck to the graveyard. And if you do, for each monster sent to the graveyard by this effect, this card gains an additional attack during the battle phase, which is really good, especially when you use Power Bond and boost this card up to 4,200. We then play a single copy of Chimera Tech Mega Fleet. Mega Fleet is a really good card in the deck because just by having a Cyber Dragon on your side of the field, you can contact fuse a monster out of the extra monster zone, which is really, really nice. We then play a single copy of Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. This is the card that you're going to be using with the Kaiju in the deck to be able to tribute an opponent's monster to put the Kaiju on the field, summon out any Cyber Dragon monster, and then contact fuse the Kaiju on their field and your copy of your Cyber Dragon in your field to make this card, which is really nice to out a really big monster. We then play a single copy of Cyber Twin Dragon. Cyber Twin is just really good to be able to attack twice, especially with Power Bond, boosting it up to 5,600. We then play a single copy of Cyber End Dragon. It's just too cool not to play Cyber End Dragon, especially since I had the misprint one, which is just really, really nice, where you can actually see the silhouette of Cyber Dark End Dragon, which is just so cool. But this card is absolutely massive when you summon it off your copy of Power Bomb, boosting up to 8,000 attack points, and it does piercing damage, which is awesome. We then play 2 copies of Cyber Dragon Nova. Cyber Dragon Nova is a great card in the deck because it has the ability that you can detach a material from this card and then bring back a Cyber Dragon monster from the graveyard, which is a really good effect to be able to just put one of your monsters back on your side of the field, which is just absolutely awesome. And basically you're going to just use this card to go in for your copies of Cyber Dragon Infinity. Cyber Dragon Infinity is a great negate in the deck because it has the ability that once per turn, you can also XZ summon Cyber Dragon Infinity by using a Cyber Dragon Nova you control as a material, and you transfer all the materials on that monster to this card, and it gains 200 attack for each material attached to it. And then once per turn, you can target one face-up attack with your monster on the field and attach to this card as a material, which is really, really good because it can actually gobble up your opponent's monsters. And it also has the ability once per turn, when a card effect is activated, quick effect, you can detach a material in this card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card, which is really, really nice. We then play a single copy of Constellar Pleiades since we can only make Infinity once per turn, so this card is really good to put on your side of the field to be able to give you additional bounces to be able to control the board. We then play a single copy of AA Zeus because it can help us board wipe the field, which is always great in this deck, to be able to just board wipe the field after you attack with the next Z monster. We then play a single copy of Cyber Dragon Sigurd. Sigurd is just a really good card in the deck overall to get you a really powerful Cyber Dragon monster. We then play a single copy of Linkuriboh. Linkuriboh is really good to work with your copy of Hertz to be able to get it off the field to be able to summon out this card and use its effect. We then play a single copy of Alamirage as well. Alamirage is just overall a really, really good card to be able to get your Cyber Dragons into the graveyard and help you climb into cards like Sigurd, or even use its ability to protect other cards, which is really, really awesome. Because this card has the ability of quick effect, you contribute this card and then target one monster that you control, and it cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects, which helps you go in for OTKs to protect your OTK pieces from being destroyed, which is the main effect that we're going to be using on this card. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. It's a really fun deck to be able to play with. If you guys have never played Cyber Dragon, you definitely should. It's a super fun deck to be able to play with. It can OTK, control the board, can go first, can go second, and it's just really, really good. It does better going second because of the effects of your Cyber Dragons and OTKing, but it's just super fun to be able to play. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.